queer TV?
Hi, F2 Carry, I want my queer TV.
We want our queer TV.
I am Christina Applegate, and I want my queer TV.
I am Katie Seagal, and you are watching Tinseltown's Queer from the Playboy Mansion. I mean, how cool is that?
It's very cool.
We're at the Playboy Mansion.
Well, welcome.
Hello everybody, Nicholas Snow here with a special edition of PromoHomo.TV, and I am in my home studio with my longtime friend and colleague and mystic reader and tarot guru, Paul Jacek. Hi, Paul.
Hello, Nicholas. How are you?
I'm fantastic. How are you?
Better now that I see you.
Well, thank you. So, my home studio isn't set up for two people. I hope you see and hear me okay. But in this episode, we're going to have tarot insights timed with the Summer Equinox. And I'm going to tell you all about the 30th anniversary celebration of my historic public access television show, Tinseltown's Queer, which I described at the time as the Queen's version of Larry King. And that's going to be coming up Saturday, April 28th. Friday, April 28th at the Palm Springs Cultural Center in Palm Springs. So that's what's coming up in this spontaneous live edition of PromoHomo.TV. More specifically, the show HIGHRPOWRD. If you happen to catch this live and you have you want Paul to draw a card for you, he will. And if you catch it in the future, there's information on how to find Paul later. So we'll be back with this exciting episode after this. PromoHomo.TV is all about empowering you, our communities, and our world. For their support of PromoHomo.TV, I wish to thank my sponsors, DAP Health. I've been a grateful client of DAP Health for more than a decade. One of their value statements, we welcome all people, period.
Nothing like the city where I got tired of the running.
Willie's Modern Fare, 1501 Uptown Gastropub, and 849 Restaurant and Lounge. 3 restaurants, unlimited flavors. Shouting out to my media partners, Pink Media, amplifying PromoHomo.TV across the Twitterverse with their hashtag I Love Gay campaign. David Perry and Associates, a PR and marketing firm. GayDesertGuide.lgbt. And KGay 1065 Palm Springs, available worldwide. Ask your smart speaker to play KGAY. And last but not least, the PromoHomo.TV superstars who voluntarily subscribe to the free content at PromoHomo.TV for as little as $1 a month. Join them at patreon.com/PromoHomo.TV. Meet many of them at PromoHomo.TV/superstars. Now here's how you can step up to the plate. To find out how you can help me empower you, our communities, and our world, visit PromoHomo.TV/empower. Thank you. And welcome to HIGHRPOWRD. I'm your host, Nicholas Snow. This is my special guest, Paul Jacek. If you're a regular viewer of my show, you know that I generally don't have people in the studio with me. I think we're close enough to this microphone that you hear me. And if you're watching live, which would be Sunday, March 19th, it's about 3:12 p.m. Comment on your social media, whatever social media you're watching on, and we'll draw a card. Now, I've been sort of on a hiatus most of the time for the last, I don't know, close to 3 months. And the reason is I now have a permanent full-time job Monday through Friday. I took it to help me fund this network. And I wanted to really settle in solidly to that new job. So I knew that I would do it well, and so I would have a sense of what time and energy would be left over to put in other places. And this weekend was kind of the coming out of that process because, Paul, you came down from LA, and we attended the Center's Red Dress Red Party last night, benefiting the LGBTQ Community Center of the Desert. It was a really amazing event, don't you think so?
I had the best time. Thank you so much. And to watch the community, there were, 2,500, 3,000 people at this event?
Approximately, yes.
At the Palm Springs Air Museum. And to watch the creativity and people dressed in red, and they dressed up, I'm here to tell you. It was a great event.
Well, and we had the absolute best location on the red carpet there. It would be, the Oscars, they had their champagne carpet. The Red Dress Party, you better well know that they had a red carpet. It was a nice long red carpet, but we were in the best location possible on that red carpet. And so I'll be post-producing that show in the next week or so, and I will be making it available on all of my social media platforms and at the website PromoHomo.TV. And speaking of red carpets,
Yes, indeed.
we've both been on a lot of them.
We've done quite a share of them.
And my historic public access television show, Tinseltown's Queer, was all about examining and strengthening the relationship between the entertainment industry and the LGBTQ civil rights movement, thereby positively impacting the movement itself. And I don't know, about a year ago, maybe not quite that long, I was talking to my friend Lex Ortega, who works at the LGBTQ Center of the Desert. And I told her the 30th anniversary was coming up. And she says, you should have a screening, a special party. That inspired me. So I am having a historic anniversary celebration Friday, April 28th at the Camelot Theaters, which are part of the Palm Springs Cultural Center. And this is the first time I'm communicating that in my own media, although the press has already gone out, and it's tickets are now available on Eventbrite. So if you go to Eventbrite and you search Eventbrite for Tinseltown's Queer, Tinseltown''S Queer, you can't miss it. You can also go to psculturalcenter.org. Tickets are only $12. It will be, I promise you, it will be an inspirational evening, and I also promise you it's not going to be all about me. It's going to be about these amazing people that I've connected with along the way in my media activism, and you've been around for a lot of it.
I haven't. I was sitting here thinking, I remember seeing you perform before I met you. So that had to be at maybe the Comedy Store.
Well,
before you had your show.
I did actually. I think I had my show before I performed at the Comedy Store. Mm. I just don't think that you necessarily knew about the show yet because it was on public access.
Maybe so. Yeah.
Well, who knows? We're both old. Some of us still have hair. I'm kidding. Oh. You actually have more hair than I do. It's just in different places.
Well, that's true.
I don't know that intimately. We are not that kind of. We're not that kind of friends. We're not that kind of friends. So, all right. What exactly is the equinox?
The equinox is basically people get them confused. I certainly have, between the equinox and the solstice. The vernal equinox that we're about to experience, that will come to fruition completely on the 23rd, today is March 19th, is an equal balance of light and dark during the day. It'll be an equal balance. It happens in the springtime, and it'll happen in the fall. Now, when we talk about solstice, the solstice is the literal shortest day of the year, which is in December 22nd usually. And there's more light during the day, or there's more darkness in that 24-hour period than light. Then as the planet does a little bit of a wobble, a little bit of a shift, and then in the spring, in June, usually around June 21st, is the longest day of the year. And then we begin the march down to narrowing it down to then the winter solstice. Then when we have the shortest day of the year, the days begin to lengthen in the sunrise. So the equinox that we talk about is the equal time between the two tropics, the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of, oh my God, I am old, I just forgot. Anyway, today it's the equality. So we are undergoing an equinox right now, which astrologically, you know, as I explained to my clients, a very famous scientist said, if we are the only animal on the planet that doesn't respond to the moon, we are the only animal. Because all animals and plant life and so forth respond to the movements of the moon, because certainly the tides do. So sometimes, I'm not an astrologer, but Lord knows I work with enough of them, that there is energies around us. And many people will always go, you know, I can walk into a room and I know what's going on. I know if it feels good or not. I say all that to say this. With this equinox, this is a great time to find a balance for yourself. Maybe this is also not a bad time to put pen to paper, a little journaling. Find out what is going on for you. What are some of the issues you want to look at? Now, years and years and years ago, when I was in study hall, I had a dear friend that brought tarot cards to study hall, and we should have been doing something else. But I was fascinated at this deck of cards, not this deck, but a deck of cards that had such amazing illustrations, and it's ancient. Tarot probably started in the 6th century. There are 78 cards in a tarot deck. They're broken into two layers. There's the major arcana and the minor arcana. Major arcana, you will have just like a title. This is the devil card. It just has a title, the devil. The other 4 suits, which are pentacles, wands, swords, and cups, they'll have an illustration. And there we go. And that's the five of swords. Oh, you're making a little car there. Yeah. During the Dark Ages, people like me would have been put to death for doing this. So they dropped the major arcana and they made playing cards.
Is that the same time when homosexuals would have been put to death?
Well,
or just tarot card readers?
I would have been dead many times over.
For different reasons.
For different reasons.
And then you would have come back as a black cat or something.
There you are.
Yeah.
Then we go into reincarnation. But it's all connected. It's all connected. So one of the things I love about tarot is it gives a nice little opportunity to look from a different angle. I frequently say to my clients, it's like coming up on a stepladder and looking down at the possibilities of this moment at this time, so you can use your power of choice and move forward.
Okay, so, you know, Paul and I have known each other for decades, but I created a Patreon platform so people could support my work for as little as $1 a month. Most people participate at $10 a month. My Patreon is patreon.com/PromoHomo.TV. If you can't be at my anniversary screening in Palm Springs on April 28th, I'm putting that entire screening, think of it as a pilot for a documentary, probably will be around 90 minutes long. I'll be putting it on my Patreon page for any patrons there to view as of around May 1st, 2023. So I encourage you to support my Patreon. But if you go to patreon.com/Paul Jacek, PAULJACEK, or search patreon.com under the name Paul Jacek, you'll find Paul's page. What do you offer on your page?
Well, mine is, I found out during the pandemic, and I was inspired by this man several times over, but when he was telling me about Patreon, I usually do face-to-face readings, and I enjoy them a great deal, but during the lockdown, my clients, we didn't have a way to do it except on the phone. So this was a way that I could then not only help my clients continue to expand it, sort of remotely. Now, I still do face-to-face readings, but with his tutelage, there are different layers or tiers of participation on Patreon. So I offer things like meditations. During the pandemic, when everyone was so frightened, I had so many people that were having a hard time sleeping. So at 8:30 on most evenings, I would read a story, and it was Uncle Paul's story time. And so that was a request. So I've been recording stories for people just to listen to. You know, podcasts and so forth are so popular, especially here in Southern California where people are driving all the time. Excuse me. people are usually listening to books on tape. Do we even say on tape? They listen to audibles or recorded
I'm usually
books.
listening to KG 1065 Palm Springs.
Me
and you can
too.
stream it worldwide, by the way.
I love KK.
They're my media partners, so I'm plugging them. But I really do listen to them. I listen to them
We
at work.
listened to them in the car this whole
Yes.
weekend. And so therefore, I have different tiers of participation where you actually can also enjoy readings with me.
But, you know, Paul also does from his personal Facebook page, Paul Jacek, Jacek, every Tuesday at 10 a.m., almost without fail, he does Tarot Tuesday, a 10 to 15 minute broadcast that has a very avid group of followers that all tune in, and he reads a card for them. So before we pull a card, and if you're watching live, we'll pull a card for you if you ask us in the comments. And if you want it to be focused on a specific question, put that in the question as well. Most of my viewers watch after the fact, and
sure.
since I haven't been broadcasting regularly, most people will see this episode after the fact.
Okay.
So we're going to make this information generally specific for anybody that wants to know sort of what's going on in the world right now, and a lot is going on in the world. So you did a reading for me a couple days ago, and did I draw 3 or 4 major arcana cards? Three major arcana cards in a row.
It went to 4, and then we went to 5, and the 5th one was.
I ended up drawing 4 major arcana cards in a row, and then I just wanted to draw another one, and it wasn't a major arcana. But what are the odds of that?
The odds are amazing. That rarely happens. There are 22 out of the 78 in here that are major arcana cards. So when people who are far more mathematically astute than I am would probably do the calculation, like the mileage to Neptune chances that would happen again and again and again. And that's how I know that the infinite has stepped in to make sure that this message gets through. You know, I worked with many mentors through my time, and they frequently say, you know, it is not your job to edit. It is your job to be a channel and give the information. And so the more that I've worked with that, especially with the tool of tarot, some of the information I get, it's astounding even to me. Like I couldn't have made that up. I had a client, I love to tell the story, that I'd read for her, and we were chatting, and as she walked away from me, I got a mental image in my mind of a clod of dirt with all these worms in it. And I thought, oh, that's repelling. So we're chatting, and she was being very nice, and we're saying, you know, we'll get together soon. And then I said, I just have to tell you, I had the weirdest image. So I saw this clod of dirt with all these worms in it, and her color changed. She goes, we didn't even talk about that. What we had talked about is her family, and she so loved her brother. And I said, why? She goes, I never mentioned that my brother owns a worm farm in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho.
Okay, then.
And that's how I was as amazed. But when you do the kind of work that I do, that you try to get your own personality out of the way, and that you can work this way. Because I also never come to a table or never come to a reading from a superior place. I'm learning just as much as you are. And that's Ram Dass, who is another one of my favorite mentors, said, we're just all walking each other home.
So before we draw cards for all the viewers, I'd love for you to draw a card or cards for me, or I draw them. And when you're doing a reading with someone, like, how would you determine, first of all, do I draw the card or do you draw the card?
Well, I thought in this instance, because this is your basis and your page, I'm going to have you draw a card for everyone that's watching live and after the broadcast.
All right.
And so that's a theme for where we're all going to go, because however we connect in this amazing network of things, this may be some information that you can use. So I'm going to hold these, and Nicholas is going to draw a card, and then we'll be talking about what card he's drawn.
I'm drawing a card for all of us right now. Oh, I don't want the top one. Well, I want a top, but not the top card. Okay.
Oh, this is an exciting card. Nicholas is going to show it by the camera there. This is the Chariot. Now, I want you all to look at that. This card means things are about to pick up speed, which is a great energy for spring. If you'll notice, this guy has control of the black unicorn and the white unicorn. It means handling sometimes opposing forces. The Chariot card is always about things beginning to pick up speed. Now, he's in command of this, so although the pace of your life may be picking up, you still have control of what's going on.
So how do you transition that into practical advice for me and my viewers?
If in fact this energetic soup that we're swimming in is now causing, because people will notice that there's a fluctuation of time. I always notice when I come to visit folks here in the desert, there is a different type. It seems that there's a gentler time. There seems to be more time in the desert. Now, in Los Angeles or in metropolitan areas, it seems like my morning routine. It takes a good 8-10 minutes, you know, a little shave, a little shower. Here in the desert, I will get all of that done and still have 7 minutes. I'm like, how did I got all this done? And I will usually be about 3 or 4 minutes behind when I'm in larger cities. It's very strange. It could be different locations, but I think time itself is elastic. What the chariot means is this soup that we're in is going to be moving at a higher vibration, a higher speed. So I would take the information from here is things are going to pick up speed, but get in control of it. Make sure you're grounded as you're moving through.
You're driving the chariot. That's what that means.
Two opposing forces. You know, people have a big career and they have to do things in the career, but they also have a family. But you can handle these two possibly opposing forces as this energy begins to pick up speed.
So let me draw a card for me.
Well, do you have a specific question?
Yes.
You do?
On
Okay.
April 28th, I'm showcasing 30 years of the 4 decades of my activism. And it's a very sort of scary undertaking to put all this together and to just sort of bare my soul to whoever shows up that night and whoever watches it online afterwards. And so I'm seeking for advice on how to approach this sort of really significant project in my life. The Magician.
Now, what I love about the Magician, and in front of him are all the tools of tarot. So, quite literally, and I think this about you anyway, I've never met a man that manifests so completely. The magician lets us know that heaven and earth are lined up for you. You have all the tools that you need in front of you. Now, with the stag's head or those antlers, this harkens back to even the Wiccan sort of tradition, that it's a very earth-based faith. And on either side, once again, we have a white candle and a black candle. This is the balance, the equinox that we're undergoing right now. This means you're standing in a beautiful position. You have all the tools right there in front of you. In his hand, he's got his hand lifted. His right hand is the symbol of infinity. That this has been what you've been doing on your whole life. It's just rolling back and forth. We don't see really his left hand. Many times in several decks, the magician will have his one hand raised heavenward. So your inspiration can flow through to your left hand.
And what does it mean that this magician is kind of hot?
He's very hot.
He's like a very hot magician.
He's kind of a bearded daddy. But it's also the masculine aspect of personality. This is the doer. We sometimes refer to the masculine aspect as the warrior aspect. This is where you translate from the feminine, the intuitive, into the masculine. So this is, it's going to go very well for you. Because once again, you're in control of it. You know what you're doing. You have all the tools. It cannot not work out in your favor.
Okay, so here, you're out about having long-term recovery, as am I.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, one of the keys in successful recovery, in my opinion, is to recognize that I'm not in control, that I'm sort of powerless. And I'm wondering, what is your take as a metaphysician and as a tarot advisor that tells me I'm in control versus this concept that, in a sense, we're not in control of anything? What is your take on that?
Coming from our shared language about powerlessness, if people are cognizant of the 12 steps of recovery, the first step does talk about powerless over a certain aspect of we are powerless over.
Yeah, but then we learn people, places, things, and circumstances that we're powerless over.
You are powerless, but that's different than control.
Ah.
Like, very literally, you have the control over your own. Another type of 12-step program would be Al-Anon. You have control over how you respond. Are you responding or are you reacting? So therefore, with the Magician card, it's saying you have control of this. This is an area that you are very well versed in.
So I'm gonna surrender to the control of that magician daddy, and we're gonna get it done together. Is there,
Not a bad image.
Yeah. Is there anything that you would like to say in the home stretch of our spontaneous tarot topic and timed with the spring equinox?
This idea of equality, the world itself is going through such a difficult time. We see division everywhere. We see war, we see famine, we see crime. And the deep spiritual fact is all is one. Now, that's not just hyperbole. Literally, minds are joined, bodies are not. Now, each of us are a shred of the divine, but we're each experiencing life differently. So, within this idea of coming into balance with yourself, give yourself a break. Now, it's also a wonderful time. I love the uprush of spring. Even in my darkest days, there will be another spring. The tide goes in, the tide goes out. Some of these situations, if I were to, I had a mentor of mine stop me in the middle of a rant about something awful going on.
You've ranted?
Can you imagine that?
No.
Say, wait a second, Paul, what was going on July 22nd of 1985? And I went, I don't know. And she goes, see, how important is it? So there may be themes in your life or details of your life, but really we're all just working along. One of the reasons I love tarot is the clarity that it can bring about situations that are right in front of you.
So for more from Paul, go to patreon.com/Paul Jacek, Jacek, or go to Facebook, search for Paul Jacek for his personal page. You can follow it, and every Tuesday at 10 a.m. Pacific time, Tarot Tuesdays. Anything else you want to add?
Yeah, if you would like to have a direct experience of me and have me do a reading for you, especially all around the world, with the internet is anyway. So give me a direct message from my Facebook page, and we'll arrange a time, and I'd love to read for you.
Yeah, his pricing is really good for people of his caliber. And so I encourage you to support Paul. And I want to thank you all for watching this spontaneous broadcast. As I mentioned, I'm coming out of sort of a hiatus, but it's going to be a busy week. Within the next couple of days, I'll be putting out a preview of what attendees can expect at the Chase, the Steve Chase Humanitarian Awards, coming up this coming weekend, benefiting DAP Health. In addition, I'll be post-producing our coverage of the Center's fabulous historic Dress Red Party and other important broadcasts coming up as well. And when I'm not broadcasting or working my full-time job or trying to eat well and exercise and do all those self-care things and making a documentary, who knows what else I'll be doing. But thank you, Paul.
Thank you all.
And thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time.
In a safe place, I got room to breathe. Been a long chase, but at last I'm free. These open woods, I knew I could find peace here. Nothing like the city we're at. They're tired of the running, they're catching up. I got hungry for the stunning high mountain tops. So I made some plans, some dreams to catch, to promised lands, to find my path, see the planet from greater heights. I have found a place out of time and space, far from city lights, up on greater heights. See the blue sky, feel the wind that blows. Get the rush in, heaven only knows. I'm all alone, still lying far from lonely. On a journey, on a winding road. They're tired of the running, they're catching up. I got hungry for the stunning high mountain top.